Okay. Uh, the last part today is tied to a practice assignment that I'll give to you, and you can work on it for the remainder of class. But I'm just going to walk through it in terms of what you can do. Keef Brands develops, produces, and distributes multiple cannabis-infused product lines through the Keef, Oil Sticks, and VitaCanna brands. These products include beverages, edibles, and CO2 extracted oil for vape cartridges. Founded in Boulder, Colorado, the company has been at the forefront of innovation around social cannabis product development education since 2010. In 2015, Keef's Bubba Kush Root Beer won Best Edible at the High Times Cannabis Cup, beating out over 150 entries from across the United States. Keef Brands products are currently available at over 800 dispensaries across Colorado, California, Arizona, and Puerto Rico. Keef Brands has approached you as a researcher, a marketing researcher. They want to start selling its products at the Last Class restaurant at Georgian College and wants to assess student interest in the product to assess the feasibility of selling their product at the college. The links below give you a start regarding the context of the study. So let's check out Keef Brands. Okay. You can order online. Classic soda. Keef's classic sodas are the everything you love about the sweet and timeless soda flavor with a burst of THC for added effect. There's the Bubba Kush root beer, orange Kush, original cola, and the blue Raz, and Keef's purple passion. These would make great items to sell at the last class or first class. I never can remember which one it is. You can get mocktails, energy, sparkling H2O. Let's look at the mocktails. Oh, the mocktail is a higher dose product line specifically designed for a cannabis user with the bigger THC tolerance, as well as for those who wish to consume with more flexibility. Pour a shot of rice, mix it with your favorite non-infused beverage, or simply just take it like shot. The choice is yours. Pineapple lemonade and fruit punch. Nice. Look at that. Okay. Okay, so now what they want to do is they want to start selling this product at Georgian College. Okay. Well, you know that cannabis is legal in Canada now. So, and let's say the Ford government in Ontario has allowed for Keef to, or at least for restaurants and bars. I know I'm always thinking this is pre-COVID. Now we're not in COVID. Has allowed for bars to sell cannabis-infused products. Okay, well, let's see what's going on. I would look at, let's see, maybe there's a more recent one. Well, they still only have the 2018 survey. Okay, we'll keep with it. This is the cannabis survey from 2018. 15% of Canadians 15 or older have used cannabis in the 12 months. That's 2018 before it was actually legal. So now if you're doing this, this is a nice little bit of lit review stuff. There's a pretty solid market here for these products. 17% of high school students have used cannabis in the last 12 months. let's see. Sorry, I'm just curious about something. No, I don't have it. Sorry. Past drug use by sex, by grade, total percent use. 22% of kids grades 7 through grade 12 have used cannabis, and that was prior to legalization. Only 5% smoke cigarettes. So there's a higher percentage of kids using cannabis products in high school, senior public school, than there are those who actually smoke tobacco cigarettes. Although vaping's become very popular. More kids are using cannabis than there are those who are binge drinking. So it looks like there's you probably couldn't see that very well. Sorry. I'm gonna save this. Okay. So, and the results, like, sorry, back to my study. Here's the national survey. This will give me detailed information here. The interesting stuff that I would include: 31% reported a willingness to publicly disclose that they use cannabis if it is legal. So people are open to using it. Some are concerned about habit forming and substance abuse. 82% thought using cannabis could be habit forming. That's an increase. Uh, 47% noticed someone smoking what seemed to be cannabis in a public place. 57% have smelt it in a public area. And that's once again prior to legalization. Non-medical use, cannabis use. Average age for initiating cannabis use was 18.9. A significant number are younger, as we see from the CAMH survey. So if you're looking at first class, this is really the market you want to get into. So if you want to get, if Keef wants to get people using their products, it's really good to get on them early. So, and a good place to do that would be at a pub on a college campus. So, in terms of feasibility, so you would, in terms of this type of project, you'd be going through this types of statistics to help build your business case. And this is from a survey. A good number are using it in other forms. For example, in food, and I'm assuming that would be food and beverages. So this survey would be really useful for my study. Okay, and this is just a description of the study. So in terms of Keef Industries has come to me, and we want to sell their products in the first class, get a sense of what their information needs are, the steps in the process, what do they need? They're going to need basically what would be the market for it. The national statistics get you started, going like, whoa, a significant percentage of people do use cannabis products. They're open to using it. The age that they start using it fits kind of like with the demographics of a college student population. The users and uses of the survey data. Well, if you're from Keef Industries, I don't know why I call it industries. Who's going to use the results? Well, there's a number of people within Keef Industries that are going to use it. One will be the sales department. So they're going to use it to assess the viability of introducing Keef into first class. You know, are there going to be enough sales to make it feasible? They'll use it to assess the supply, the amount of Keef they should ship to first class on a regular basis, because in anticipation of what the sales would be. So sales department would need it. Marketing department would want it. They kind of like would want to know the demographics of the potential users of the products, consumers. They'll kind of like want to know what are some of the barriers, if there are any barriers to using it, and they'd want a marketing strategy to kind of address those barriers. They'd want to promote elements of marijuana use that may be better than, say, alcohol use. So marketing and the sales department would need that information. Tangentially, the manufacturing side would want it in terms of assessment of can they meet the demand. And obviously this would all kind of like funnel through the executive team. Okay, so what are some of the main concepts and operational definitions that we would want? Because we know nationally what the picture looks like. What we would do is we'd run a survey, right? We'd survey Georgian College students to assess their interests in Keef products and Keef type products, their interest in using the product and buying it at a pub, how much they currently use marijuana cannabis, and then the demographic information about how old they are, sex, their gender, that type of information. So we would survey them. You might run a focus group to look at all those different issues on the barriers. Are there any, are people open to using it? Are there concerns about it? Are there any concerns in terms of it becoming habit forming, and how do you address that? All of that would be done in terms of your concepts and your, in terms of, and then you got to define them in a survey. And we'll get into survey design later. So you actually have to develop the survey, and then you look at the analysis plan. So that's the steps that you would go through to develop a marketing survey for Keef Industries. Okay. So you identify the information needs, you know, in terms of why they want to do it. We clearly know why they want to do it. They want to sell their product. What are the underlying issues? Well, it's a new product. They don't know what the market is for it. They'd have to have an assessment of the market. They'd have to know what their price point is. They'd have to know what are people willing to pay for a cannabis-infused soda pop. All of that work would have to be done. So you can have like a question, how much are you willing to pay for, I don't know, a Purple Passion high-octane cannabis, high THC octane product? The users, as I talked about, the users and uses of the data. Concepts and operational definitions. We'll get more into this as we get later into the course in terms of actually developing the survey and how would we structure the questions. And we'll see the surveys have a flow to them. So it's important that you kind of like have a survey is like a conversation, right? You're having a conversation with survey participants. It's a very structured, very formal conversation. But from that, you'll glean the information that's needed to help Keef Industries expand their market into Canada through Georgian College. The survey content, you'd work with the client to develop that. And it's a very iterative process. You develop a draft of the survey, the client sees it, and they ask questions. Oh, I think you should ask this. I'm not sure about that question. That doesn't really fit with our philosophy. We're not worried about people's concerns about it being habit forming. We already know that our market, they're passionate cannabis users, and they're not too worried about it being habit forming. They seem to have it control. That's little things like that will come up. So that is an iterative process in terms of developing your survey. And survey plan in terms of how you want to analyze the data. Once again, we'll get into this further into the course, but yeah, we need to know, what are you going to do? What kind of presentation are you going to give to Keef Industries? And they may be sharing that information too with Georgian College, with the staff at First Class, because they might start getting into competition. So then, because it's basically it's product display, product prominence, and you want First Class really promoting it, coasters and hats and T-shirts for staff and all of that stuff, and posters and advertising on campus, promotional events. All of that stuff would have to be part of their marketing plan, but you need to engage with the with First Class to let them know that Keef Industries is really interested in selling their product through First Class, and that both Keef and First Class will do quite well financially by selling the product. Okay. Number of constraints that can happen, and these always happen, not all in the same array, but you'll often get in the barriers. Size of the population, how are you going to sample the Georgian students, response rate, how are you going to get a hold of them? Oftentimes intercepts are good. You just walk around the college campus and intercept people and have them complete the survey. The beauty about intercepts is it's actually a marketing tool also. When you're asking them about a product like Keef products or Keef Industries, yes, advertising. Like you're talking about that, you're getting them engaged and discussing Keef. That's what you want to do. So an intercept survey kind of serves a dual purpose. You collect the information that you need, but you're also promoting your product at the same time. Turnaround time for after the survey is collected, how fast do they want the information? Well, mostly a private company, they just want it very quick, so the turnaround time would be fairly fast. Do you keep doing it and keep getting them regular updates? Are you doing qual-style interviews? And if it's too much of a burden for the respondents, you don't want your survey to be too long. We'll get into that issue later. Confidentiality issues, well, typically for this type of survey, it would be relatively anonymous. Will the survey have negative consequence of reputation of the survey agency? Well, if you're a consulting company, in this case, not. Although sometimes, particularly with polling for political parties, they get themselves into trouble. But we'll see more of that when we talk about research ethics and research integrity. Okay, as a practice, can I go through what I've discussed now? And develop a document that contains the following sections: what you feel the information needs would be for Keef. We've talked about potential users and uses of the data. You can document that. You may find additional ones. And lay out you can do a bit of research on your own in terms of what some of the concepts you want to measure. I touched upon some of them: habit forming, consumption, how often people use cannabis, how they use it, recreational, social, what their perceptions are, and we talked about the habit forming one. So just as a small practice assignment. You can do it, it's optional, just to give you some practice and kind of like putting down in words in your own writing what we've essentially discussed right now.